All right, back for another video here, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about the musical staff. On your screen, you can see groups of 5 horizontal lines, and this, in fact, is a staff in music notation. When notes are added, you'll see note heads written on various lines or spaces to indicate how high or low the note is. Here are some examples. What's cool about this type of notation is that it graphically represents the sound it expresses. Low notes are lower on the staff and high notes are higher. When you get good at reading this stuff, you don't need to hear any music first. You can look at a piece of notation and have a pretty good idea of what it's going to sound like just from looking at the page. Staff notation has been around for a while and was widely in use in northern France by the 13th century. The earliest surviving example of a musical staff dates from the end of the 9th century. It's been around for a while, well over 1,000 years. In these earliest examples, notes were only written on the lines of the staff, not on the spaces, and each line represented notes that were adjacent to each other or the interval of a second apart, A to B, B to C, C to D, etc. Staff notation was also used as tablature from its earliest days. Most of you guitar players know what tab or tablature is because you still use it. However, it can also be used for other instruments, even the keyboard, wind instruments as well. For those of you who don't know, tablature, or tab as it's commonly referred to, is a system of notation where, at least in the case of the guitar, the lines of a staff represent strings of the instrument, and there are numbers written on the lines which indicate to the player where to put their fingers on the neck to get the desired note. Tab basically acts as a little roadmap for the fingers, and it's great because you don't really need a teacher to learn how to read tablature. For the music notation I'm talking about here and in the other videos, you usually need a teacher to help you read this stuff, at least initially. In the early 11th century, this guy recommends that each line of the staff represent every other note, and then the spaces in between the lines can be used for notes as well. This is how we still use the music staff today. We know him as Guido of Arezzo, who was an Italian music teacher and theorist from the city-state of Arezzo, which was located in the central part of Italy. Regarding his name, you'll see an association to where the person is from with a lot of historical figures. Guido from the town of Arezzo, Kim from Korea, Dolph from Munich, Bob from Orange County. You get the point. Back to the staff. You may be asking yourself if there were always 5 lines, and the answer is no. Early on, there were usually fewer lines, and believe it or not, sometimes there were even more. However, after the 1600s, people generally settled on not going over 5 lines, and that's where it stands today. So there you have it, an introduction to the staff and a little history to boot. Take care, and I'll see you guys next time.